All right, let's kick this thing off here. Mic check, Mr. Blue here. Hopefully y'all can hear it and see the screen. Welcome, TradePhantoms.com. Today's date, July 10th, brings us to a Thursday. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend last week, holiday weekend, getting back on track here, already Thursday. Past halfway mark of this week. In regard to that date here being Thursday the 10th of July, in regard to economic news, really quick, just starting this out here, we did just have unemployment claims, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, about 20 minutes ago, give or take, in regard to scheduled economic news, right? So I'll be here for about an hour, give or take, over some pre-market prep, which that was kind of part of there, and then see how the open takes us and maybe take a couple trades. Noteworthy here too, 1 p.m. Eastern, 1:15 p.m. Eastern, that is. FOMC member Waller speaks. That's noteworthy. I wouldn't say as noteworthy as Jerome Powell speaking. FOMC minutes. But the markets have been kind of quiet this week. You'll see that in the chart on the charts in a moment. So not much of a catalyst here. Even the tariff talk and the backdrop, etc., is making the market pretty much quiet at least this time around. These deadlines come around, etc., etc. So, market's all-time highs, bull market, right? I bring this up every day, no matter what, if I'm on a live trading room or on social media, etc. So we get phantoms, right? Backdrop, institutional demand and supply, top-down, multiple time frame analysis approach, meaning that we're always going to start with the high time frames first, monthly, weekly, daily. You'll see a couple of colors on my charts, orange, yellows, and blues. Those are the main colors. Anything that you see in orange is associated with the monthly time frame. Yellow has a weekly, or I should say the weekly time frame has a yellow designation, followed by the daily has a blue color code designation. Candlesticks, a bunch of fancy names, location and context being most important. Okay, there's a lot of candlesticks in the chart, but we need to look at certain ones in proper locations in areas of demand. In this example, for bullish candlesticks in the context of uptrends, super important there. Bearish, bunch of fancy names, context, location being most important, right? Typically, you want to be looking for these bearish candlesticks approaching in levels of supply in the context of down trends. It'll increase your probabilities and odds. There's the 5 fundamental truths there of Mark Douglas, and then trading the zone, the trading Bible, and then we got the liquidity map, which we discuss, of course, a lot more in detail with when we have time in the trade rooms and classes, etc. But I usually just park this over here to the left, and this would pretty much get brought up once or twice at some point during the session. Let's see. So we'll kick this off here, go to Thinkorswim, and I'll start off with the major four indexes first and foremost. So let's do that. Futures. All right, just put everything in the daily time frame just for right now. I got a S&P daily time frame upper left, NASDAQ daily time frame upper right, Dow Jones lower left, Russell 2000 bottom right. Everything just on a daily time frame right now. Real quick as I go down, pretty quiet, right? S&P's for the most part flat, down slightly 0.09%. NASDAQ basically flat, 0.04. Okay, I got Dow Jones 0.17 down, and then 0.13%. So very quiet right now. Unemployment claims just came out 25 minutes ago, and markets really didn't react and respond to that as much. Okay, because you can go look through the data and all that kind of stuff, but the markets, how's the market going to react and respond to it? That's most important here, right? That kind of stuff will take a longer time to kind of unravel. Okay, but as a technical standpoint, got a daily time frame here. I know it'd be hard to see for some new folks if you haven't been tracking or anything like that with phantoms here. But here's hopefully you can try to make out to see what this is doing here. I'll try to make it short and sweet. But here's the current price if you can kind of make up what that candle is. And if I just look at, this week, today is Thursday already, right? So we have Thursday, yesterday being Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So we started off Monday, had a nice little drop, all right, coming off the back of the holiday, before the holiday weekend, where we had this massive rally, right? Decent little rally, right? Positive COG, bar off that rising 20. Markets have been riding this 20 on the 20 people moving average daily time frame. Pretty awesome, right? Pretty smooth, right? Just pretty smooth. Just pullbacks into levels of demand, mean reversion. All right, green bar takeout reds, positive COGs, demand overtaking supply, and we have new highs. Okay, all-time high. Anyways, so that's kind of old now, but now on Monday or Sunday evening in futures here, which would be Monday's morning on the regular trading session. We had a slight gap down, and Monday had a down day. Okay, which was well needed. Nothing too crazy. Didn't give back much. Okay, I'm still expecting some kind of bigger pullback at some point. Maybe some catalyst included. Maybe some catalyst will need that to happen. We do have earnings right around the corner for equities, so that's a thing. Of course, going into Q3 now, and now we're going to be getting Q2 earnings from companies. So that's a thing that should be on the radar of traders and investors. Okay, and of course that's going to be some catalysts to move stocks up or down. Earnings is a time where things could potentially get a little bit more volatile. Okay, as companies are posting. Okay. That said, pretty quiet this week. We'll start to talk about that with Phantoms as we carry on into the next into summer. Okay. But today I'm going to map out some demand below the Globex low and some supply above the Globex high, which is we don't really have much. We already tagged one yesterday, hit a beautiful level of supply yesterday, short-term time frame, so still very short-term supply. I'll explain that in a moment. So still very difficult to short this market. They're going to be short-lived and kind of scalpy in a way. But yesterday had a nice little drop off of a level of supply that you'll see in a moment, 63.15. But that's been touched multiple times now, so you'll see in a moment as well if we get up into the all-time high, which is 6.333, right? 6.333. We're only a couple of points away from that. We're basically only 33 points away from the all-time high. So this market could easily just kind of poke a quick little new high point, which is going to be the high probability side of things here, right? Yesterday's close, albeit green bar, we didn't really take out this Monday's high, which was in S&P's. What is this? Because this is this week's high as well. Okay, and it's already Thursday, so 6.315. Okay, 6.315, and this is exactly where I got the level yesterday, 6.315, which was that daily high, and the yesterday's high it came up to 63.15.25. So we got if anybody took that yesterday, got filled by a tick. Okay, by one tick got in 63.15.25. Okay, then the market just kind of dropped out a little bit, then found some demand, and then kind of rallied back up. So that'll make more sense if we get down to small time frames. But 633 hit point here. So if we get in above there, that's all-time high. If long, for the day, I would say, take some profit, exit distribution, if that would be the case today. NASDAQ was a little bit more stronger yesterday. Tech is coming out of the gate in July, very strong off the back of June. Okay. Again, just putting that 20-period moving average here. And if you're ever confused about trend, just throw a 20-period moving average on. Okay, we can make a beautiful higher high, higher lows, higher high, higher lows, higher high, higher lows, higher high, higher lows. Just walking up on that 20-period moving average there, right? So we got last week big rally. Had Monday kicked off a drop down. Last Monday kind of faded back up. This Monday dropped down a little bit, faded back up. Nasdaq futures here, daily time frame. Nasdaq futures. You got all-time highs yesterday, 23,112. Right? So Nasdaq did poke a new all-time high. So here we are, right? That no surprise there. All right. At some point, yes, we're gonna have some kind of deeper pullback there. Catalyst probably would be needed for that. Pretty quiet right now. VIX low. Okay. So, but anything can happen at any time, right? Rule number one for Mark Douglas trading the zone, right? Anything can happen at any time. All right. So Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky. All right, that's actually Mark Douglas. All right, trading the zone in all seriousness, right? So just be cautious, right? Always as a trader and investor, anything can happen at any moment. But I'm just going to drop down the small time frames. We got some demand levels here. I have been referencing this 20-period moving average down here as well. All right, so I got a couple notes down here. That's where that's hovering there. So I want to line up, okay, confluence line up that 20-period moving average with the shorter time frame demand levels, meaning like the 60-minute, the 30-minute, the 4-hour. Below the daily time frame here, okay, which is I'm going to do right now. That said, real quick, even though that was just a quickly, Dow Jones, not my thing that as much, right? No offense to anybody that trades Dow Jones. And then Russell 2000 small caps. Yes, I've been hearing for 2 years that small caps are going to wake up and move and move and move. It's going to be their time. And for 2 years, if you've been listening to that, it hasn't been the case. So Russell 2000, sorry, I do love you sometimes, but right now, you're just not doing much. While the S&P and the NASDAQ are making new all-time highs and mega cap are really moving, and other things like Bitcoin, etc., are moving, small caps are just not doing anything. So I got to go where the party is, right? Got monthly here, weekly here, daily here to show you the lay of the land. Monthly, weekly, daily, super important. Okay. And then, of course, I'm going to have the 60-minute time frame here, upper left. Where is everybody today? Small group. Are you talking about this file, Bob? This file here? Yes or no? I'll let you answer that. You got a 60-minute time frame here, 30-minute here, 5-minute here, and a 2-minute here. All right, so 60-minute time frame here, and just real quick before I kind of move, here's current price, right? So futures are fairly flat for the most part. Gray space here is the overnight session here in Thinkorswim here. My cursor's moving. Yeah, man. Maybe it's just summertime. It seems like a smaller groups these days. It's all good. I know it's summertime, holiday, people on vacation and things like that. That's the time. Let's see. We here, CK Smoke, Paul's right here. Would you email my man from Phantoms? Would you count that? Would you count that 6 a.m. 4-hour candle from July 9th as mother bar? Let me see that real quick. I'm assuming. Let's see this. Switch to a 4-hour for you, buddy. Let's see. July 9. So I'm assuming you're talking about this one here. This one here. So you're right. Good job, Emir, if I'm saying your name right. Apologies if I'm not. Call you E. Yes, you are correct. So, good job, buddy. So we got this is a 4-hour time frame S&P, and this is the 4-hour right. So this was yesterday's price action, right? So we have a high here, we have a low here, right? The next 4-hour bar is completely inside of this bar, right? The next 4-hour bar is completely still inside of this bar here, so on and so forth, right? So yes, this is the mother bar high, this is the mother bar low on a 4-hour time frame. Indeed, you are correct, sir. Good job. Good identification. So again, a little bit range, right? So as the market's rallied up, okay, we're just kind of ranging sideways here, right? Now range is okay. Range is okay, right? Now this could be again, what time frame are we? I'm on a 4-hour time frame right now, but you just want to switch over from the daily. But again, we have a range here that's getting put in. We're not making any new lows. We're not really quite making any new higher highs just yet. But range is building up potentially, right? And range, you can have an impulse. This could be one massive basing, and then we could have a potential breakout because we're going to have a higher probability of breakout in the context of the higher time frame trend, which at the moment is still up. Okay. Now, let's just say, playing devil's advocate here, let's say that we had a crystal ball, which we do not, where this could be, let's say that we had a crystal ball and this was going to be the all-time high for now. Okay. And we we're going to go on a deeper correction lower. So let's just say for starting today, tomorrow being Friday, and then going into next week. Okay. If these levels do not snap, if these levels do not give out and they hold, this is the upper range. Then we start to test lower range, okay, and then this lower range buyers would be coming back in, and then the buyers would have to give out, more sellers would have to come in, of course, and then would drop that range. But at the moment, we have a lot of demand below price, okay, to absorb for that to potentially happen, right? So talking about the path of least resistance, and I'm not talking about resistance in terms of like a resistance line on the chart and or supply, if you will, even though those are kind of two different things there. But I'm talking about path of least resistance where in regard to where is the market have an easier way to move, okay, right? The current of the wind blowing, if you will, right? So, and that would be, of course, still up, right? So it's going to be just one massive basing and up. That said, okay, if you notice yesterday, here was our Globex high yesterday, right? Here was our Globex low yesterday, and we mapped out, this was yesterday, but we mapped out a level of demand below, and I was talking about how, in regard to that, where we have this, okay, we have impulse correction, impulse, this is what really kicked out that new higher high, right? So this is what's called the level in control. We talk about that more, in the group at Phantoms, okay? Mr. Black, I'm sure, talks a lot about it too, even on potentially his lives, even for YouTube and TikTok, etc. But that's the level of control. So we would have to close below this and take this out, okay, for this range to start to give up. Now before that, if I'm looking at this, even yesterday we had this daily low 62.46 and 62.34, essentially this demand level right here, okay, which comes in the date about July 2nd, if you will, where that would be holding the level of control of the upper range, or this would be the lower range. Okay, the lower range here, and if this would be hold up, we could bounce back and forth between these ranges here before potential breakup, one way or the other. Okay, now that hasn't hit yet, so that's still on the radar even for today. So for today, yes, 62.35 down into 62.25. In the event that we break the Globex low, and even this daily low here, that would be a nice, decent Globex trap, is what we call it. Okay, these have been working very powerful. Okay, that's still on the dock here today. Yesterday, we had a Globex high, and we had a level of supply above the Globex high right here. Drop, base, drop. We talked about this test here. Okay, and it just kissed it right there by a tick, and that's when we had a nice little drop. Came back mean reverted, and then the market just kind of found a mean reversion in the middle here, and then just kind of faded right back up. Overnight, dropped down, dropped up. We're kind of flat right now, so I can update this Globex low being here now. And Globex high being here. Overnight high, overnight low. Okay, so now if we break the Globex low, I want to look for an institutional level of demand below the Globex low. And if I look down and left, we do have this level here. We kind of mapped this out yesterday. Yesterday, we did have what's called a positive gamma node here. That is super advanced. Don't even want to get into that right now. But this is a level of demand. Is it the greatest level of demand in the world? No. Have we been, we rallied up here, right? No big deal. It is closer down to the lower range right now, and this range that the S&P is kind of having right now, sifting out all-time highs. But this because it's a level below Globex low. It could be used as a Globex trap, indeed. Right? I'm not sure if this is going to still be a gamma node here. I could try to find that out, but I'm going to delete that right now just because I don't know if that's a true statement for today. I'd have to refresh. Okay, but I'm also going to look at right below yesterday's low. Okay, sometimes what will happen is we'll break the Globex low, we'll snap yesterday's low, pick up some liquidity. Okay, so I have on the dock here 62.55 as a potential sneaky G-trap entry. Long. And we can also potentially use, this level, albeit, again, not the greatest level, sometimes spent here, etc. But this market's in an uptrend, not a lot of catalyst right now. So this could be, I'll put a little asterisk on it, meaning kind of slightly aggressive, not too much, just maybe one asterisk. All right, and the reason why it's a little aggressive with the asterisk there, if you will, is because the formation of the level is not super great. A lot of time spent there, and it's not prime and fresh. It's just tested already. But that's what happens in range. You get multiple tests of levels, right, before a potential break, because one way or the other, the demand and supply equation is getting absorbed one way or the other, right? We already talked about this path of least resistance, if you will, is going to be up. Okay, the market could just kind of blow, give it a little blow, push, and we could just squeak a new high, right? So we already tested this level yesterday. It already was a drop. Here's the all-time high, right? Drop, base, drop right there. There's one tag right there first. There's a second tag, so it's absorbing supply here. Okay, so again, the more times that a level has been tested, the supply equation is going to be giving out. So therefore, if more buyers start to pick back up, that could easily get blown out, right? So I'll still leave this on 63.15, 63, call it 20 area. I'll just round up, keep the math simple here for today. All right, and watch out for potential liquidity sweep right above the 63.20 as well. Okay, I can see a little trap right here too. So we were talking about how 63.25. Sometimes you'll see a level get taken out. We won't get to the next level. It'll stop kind of like in the middle for some liquidity. So keep an eye on 63.25 today on S&P futures. If long, TP up there, right? So yesterday, I actually missed a SPY trade in the morning. Some folks caught it, and then I was telling folks, you got TP, you got a TP. Someone was like, should I get long here? I'm like, no, don't get long. You're late. Next thing you know, came up here, 30 minutes later, boom, slammed down. So be careful, right? So if we do rally back up here, okay, first order of business, hopefully it would be long. Okay, hopefully you'd be long. TP, so take some profit, and then maybe a potential liquidity sweep, 63.25. I'm looking for in the event that we don't make and squeak an all-time high today. Okay, today Thursday, right? So here's a little sneaky Globex trap. Aggressive. This would be aggressive, asterisk for sure. It's aggressive. Why? Because because monthly, weekly, daily, and higher time frame trend is up, and this would be a G trap short. So this is going to be aggressive because you're shorting in the context of a bull uptrend market. Aggressive. All right, NASDAQ. It's already 9:11 in terms of time. That's crazy. All right, go a little quicker here. NASDAQ on a 1 hour time frame. Okay, and perfect. I like this because look, we had a level here yesterday on NASDAQ. Okay, equivalent to kind of like the S&Ps, kind of got blown out there, and then we had an all-time high level, and that also got taken out with a quick little new high right there, right? Now we did drop from it. Don't get me wrong, but again, in a parallel universe, that could have made a another 100-point move up, real, especially something like NASDAQ, 50 to 80 to 100-point move up before it potentially drop back down. So it's hard to play. If you place your stop loss right above the all-time high, you're just shark bait. Okay, market maker shark bait. They're just going to potentially just tag you. Right, if you try to short this, or just try to tag you out, take you out liquidity wise, right? And right, so it's tough, all time highs, right? So if you want to try to short this thing again up here today, we're going to put your stop because what if today's like a big breakout day and then NASDAQ rips up another 100 points off of the all time high? So very difficult there. So that's what I'm happy that NASDAQ, is just showcasing this. So like in the S&Ps today, if we have a big breakout day, that 63333, okay, could just easily get taken up, right? 23 points away from that, no big deal, okay. So NASDAQ was stronger yesterday, pop, right? So focusing on like Meta, NVIDIA, Microsoft yesterday, took a couple of decent trades, Broadcom, etc. All right, right. So we got Globex high here today. There. Low here. All right, there's nothing to the left other than the all-time high. Be careful shorting this. I just had a little TED talk about that, so I'm not going to waste any more oxygen and breath on that. This level is just completely violated, right? So I'm just going to exit that. I mean, delete that because it's kind of in the way over here, right? So again, boom, the same thing that I was mentioning there. S&Ps worked out decent. NASDAQ was just super stronger yesterday, so it inevitably just took that out, right? So we're just left with the all-time high here now. All right, great, get that. All right, institutional level below Globex low. Look down and left. And of course, we have to reference this because of the condition that it's in and range, etc. But just be careful here. One thing I will say is markets are always looking to sift out liquidity. So you see how we have this level here, right? Kind of weird and a lot of time spent here, a lot of wiki, kind of low volume, kind of holiday week from last week coming into this week, summer doldrums, etc. Right? And the market's a little bit more slower and lower volume, people on vacation, etc. Right? Markets at all-time highs. What's the issue right now? Nothing much. So below this level, right, we have a demand here. It's not great though, but markets always like to sift out liquidity, right, and swipe, right, especially something like NASDAQ. So one thing I want to make a notation here for you folks here this morning is in the event that for whatever reason we do kind of swipe down to break the Globex low right there, and we do get a little bit of pressure lower, this market could be sifting out liquidity below this daily low right here. So we have a couple of daily lows here. So in regard to breaking the Globex low, this is a daily low right here because this is Wednesday overnight. There's the overnight low, and then of course yesterday being Wednesday, there's a regular trading session high. Okay, so that's a daily low in futures. So right below here, okay, call it 22,000, call it 825. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if in the event that this thing just swipes down, that if they break this daily low, come into the lower level a little bit right here, 22,825 for a potential liquidity sweep. All right, so that's something that I'm looking for here. Stop losses get taken out right here. Right, if you get stopped out of a level, right? Say you're bullish, right? Come down, ding, you got filled, right? Then the market might be looking at working a little bit, coming down a little bit, coming up a little bit, coming down a little bit. Then all of a sudden it goes swoop, swipe you out, right? And it swipes you out, you get stopped out, order filled, stopped out, right? And then it goes whoop right back up, and you're like, oh man, I was right, but I just got stopped out real quick, right? So what I want you to do here, especially with this condition of range, because in range, what they'll do is they'll swipe real quick, right? Happen over here too, right? Daily low, right there, daily low, a little bit of low right below daily low. Swipe right below that little shelf, okay, and then popped up. Okay, and we actually mapped that out too. That was the sneaky. I don't know if this was on YouTube or not, but the sneaky little S&P. What was it? 52.55, right below that level. So again, all that being said, speak English, man. You talk too fast. Slow it down. Okay, this could potentially be, instead of getting stopped out. Okay, you can right, or you can add, right. I would not put my stop loss right below here. You can even put a sneaky G trap entry here. I'll put a sneaky note here. All right, of course, that's if we potentially sweep lower. See, that comes in 22,825, by the way. I see you, CK Smoke. CK Smoke. I see you, brother, looking at these gaps. It's 917. I'm going to move on here. All right, if already long, not bad. Here's VWAP right here. I'm on a 1 hour time frame, of course. We dropped down. We had a positive COG here, still below VWAP, but this formation right here is pretty decent. We're getting some decent little positive COG. So it's an inside bar right now on the 1 hour. But we're getting some decent. We're getting some decent formations here. All right. This is a rising Met here at 3 a.m. formation here, inside bar, breakout here. So, we'll see. We'll see if that continues, right? We could easily swipe lower too, which is what I just mentioned there, okay? All right, got to move on here. VIX, where you at? VIX completely flat. VIX down, market up. VIX up, market down. A lot more to that. But we're going to map out. So, this is the, all-time highs. Nothing crazy right now. VIX volatility is low. Okay, if you wanted to, begin to, if you get your long-term portfolio and it's up and things like that, but you want to, potentially insure that or maybe have some hedges on for some VIX and things like that, this would be the time to do it as VIX is down, okay, and things are calm and quiet, at least for the moment, but at any time you can spike and VIX volatility comes up. So as VIX is down, this is the time that you would be deploying insurance or VIX, long VIX exposure. Overnight low here. Overnight high here. And, if VIX continues to remain low or just quiet here and maybe grinds lower, that could be more bullish for the market. If it spikes up and takes out the overnight high and sustains higher, that could be a bit more, bearish for the market, at least for the day. Yesterday it was down, very quiet. And then, in the morning it was, markets rallied up, and then it hit that level of supply in the S&Ps. And then we had a VIX spike up a bit there, right? And the markets dropped pretty quickly, right? We took a quick little scalp short yesterday, and then markets found a bid, right, back in the mean revert, and then VIX went back down and just grinded lower as the markets just kind of like grinded right back up a little bit there, right? Nothing too crazy. Yesterday was a pretty decent day. In the morning, rip up, kind of swipe down, and then grind up low, grind up late day. So I'm not saying that's going to happen again today, but just we're going to be tracking that VIX. VIX lets us know very good things here. SPYs, volatility index. How do you get long VIX? Great question, Aiden, my man Aiden. Multiple ways. You could buy VIX futures. That might be one of the better ways to do it. There is VIX options. These DK and are fairly expensive and hard to monetize. You would really need a big spike in VIX to really monetize these, because you need to make sure you buy time, so you have to worry about data on this. VIX options. These are very liquid, right? So you can do it that way. Very liquid options. Very liquid. So that's VIX options. Or you can buy UVIX, right? If you can buy this is getting basically long futures. If you buy you can buy shares of this. This is the ETF that operates. Well, it's an ETF that operates like a stock. It's an exchange traded fund, but it's 2x long the VIX futures. Okay, so you could buy potentially. This would be like insurance. This would be like an insurance policy for your long-term portfolio, right? So that in the event, like, oh no, whatever happens, Trump says something crazy, right? And VIX spikes. This is like the insurance, right? So you get some exposure here. So this is really making like new lows here, right? I don't have enough time to explain why this is making newer lows than say the VIX spot itself. Okay, definitely not the time to do that 9 minutes before the open, but you can do UVIX, buy futures, you can buy VIX options itself, or you can potentially buy what's called SPY puts. You could buy out of the money SPY puts, which would be kind of like a protection because you're taking the whole S&P, right? There's something called beta weighting. Whatever your portfolio is, how much delta long you have, okay, you can potentially buy that amount of delta in regard to SPY puts, and then you'd be protected in the event that markets drop down. Drop down. You got the put insurance on. Okay, so this is quickly a couple of ways that you could do that. But if you do that, the SPY put insurance, you have to know how to beta weight your portfolio. Because you don't want to buy too much insurance, okay? And then you don't want to buy too less insurance. So there's a medium there where you kind of want to know how much delta you have long stock, how many shares you own of each stock. That gives you a bottom line delta, and then that bottom line delta is going to give you direction exposure, okay? And then if the S&P moves down by say 7% from now till say, I don't know, October, for an example, okay, what would that insurance policy do for you if you put that on? Okay, that's how you have to kind of look at that in regard to VIX. All right, so hopefully that helps. So multiple ways there. The easiest way would just potentially just be like buy VIX futures and sit on them, and then if you get a VIX spike, you're good to go. So you don't have to worry about theta decay and the decaying value of UVIX as well. All right, SPYs. Flat. Okay, I got a weekly on the left, daily on the right. Great question, Aiden. As you can see, last week high, last week's low. We're inside of that. It's already Thursday. We opened here. This is this week, right? Last week's high, last week's lows here. Right? We're inside week so far. It's already Thursday. Well, about to be Thursday. Open here. We got a low here, high here. So the bulls are trying to pick it back up, right? I have Monday's high, Monday's low here. We had an inside bar yesterday. Okay, daily time frame on the right. Yesterday we did poke its head out. Okay, for the S&P SPYs here. Okay, but we kind of closed right back at or around within the yesterday's high. So a little bit of a hammer bar close yesterday. So far, the weekly bar is painting a hammer. We have today being Thursday, tomorrow being Friday to close this weekly bar here. So not done. Okay, but buyers are trying to outtake these sellers here, right? Red bar, close here. Red bar, open here, close here. Yesterday, gap up here, swipe lower, right, rally back up. Okay, and putting a nice little green bar close yesterday. Again, a couple points away from all-time highs. Wouldn't be surprised if that kicks off here today. Got monthly VWAP in orange here. We're trading above that. We got last week's VWAP trading right here. We're trading above that. We got this week's VWAP in yellow trading right here. Okay, trading above that as well. Okay, everything above the 20p moving average and the weekly's 20p moving average above that. So nothing to stop this other than all-time highs. So this could easily pop. Yes, of course, one day that's not going to be the case as we have VIX up and markets pulling back deeper. Okay. NASDAQ weekly on the left, daily on the right. NASDAQ, QQQs. And last week's high, last week's low. As you can see, 2 weeks ago, breakout, right? Impulse, basing, impulse. Okay, still inside week on NASDAQ. NASDAQ did poke out its head into an all-time high yesterday, right? And again, here's monthly VWAP starting in the short July, which was July 1st, 10 days ago, give or take, right? We're trading above that. Last week's VWAP trading above that. This week's VWAP trading above that. Okay, Monday, right here, open here, low here, close here, red bar, inside day, Tuesday, okay, for Monday. Okay, yesterday we gapped up above that. Okay, tech was on a tier, kind of right in a way, and put a nice little solid close here. Okay, now this is what's called a positive COG. Okay, because we close, green bar above red bar in the context of an uptrend. So, NASDAQ, we're slightly gapping up, still inside gap. There's really, like I said, there's really nothing to stop NASDAQ. All right, yesterday we had like I said, all-time high, little supply level right here, and it just got blown up. It got blown out. Why? Because again, we're in a rate, I want to say raging bull market, but it's a kind of a raging bull market at the moment right now. Okay, one of the fastest drops with fastest recoveries in history here. All right, so yeah, we'll see if the bulls continue to play and to kick this thing higher. Dollar index hit a monthly level of demand. Watching this super key here. Exited some of my bullish exposure in euro and pound. All right, GBP USD. Watching this level of dollar as we rally up here to reload some euro longs and pound longs and Swissy longs. I didn't even cover gold, but gold has been inside bar, inside week, so we can potentially save some time there. Bond yields doing okay. Apple is a mess. Yeah, UVXY, very liquid, good product to potentially get some exposure if you wanted to get some fixed exposure indeed. You got to buy that on lows, though. You got to buy UVX on lows. UVXY. All right. So Apple been crazy range here. It's been doing a lot of fakey breakies and things like that. But I don't want to even talk about Apple right now. There might be better ones on the board here. If you're trading Apple, just be careful. It's been in a very long range. It's not participating in anything for the past 2 months. Amazon, rangy up here. So we got 2 weeks ago, weekly on the left, daily on the right, right? So, you got a nice little breakout bar here on the weekly, right? We got some stuff up here that needs to absorb, potentially jealous of the all-time high club. Amazon most likely will come up into the all-time high club at some point. Last week's high, last week's low here. Doji. These are all wicks here. So you can see the daily's kind of getting stuck here for the past 2 weeks here, give or take, right? In this range right here. So keep Amazon on your radar because this is a high base range here so far. And of course, the path of least resistance would be up as 2 weeks ago we have a pause of COG. So impulse correction. This is a base correction here. Path of least resistance would be up, potentially breakout to the upside. I'm not sure if that's going to happen today. As far as today, we're kind of in the middle of the range, so that's not ideal, right? It's not ideal. So even if I look at last week's high, last week's low, okay, which is here in the yellow, okay, we're still inside of last week's high, last week's low. It's already being Wednesday is done, and we're entering Thursday. And then we're gapping. Green bar closed yesterday. Great. We had a massive red bar here. So you see we have a green bar here, red bar here, small body ranges, right? Breaking in red bar here, gap up here, close inside. So just be very careful here, right? We'll see if we can get potentially a breakout to the upside. We'll see. All right, now one thing you want to be looking out for, be careful with, is this could potentially have what's called a liquidity sweep, swipe below here, either today, tomorrow, or even later next week, maybe next week, even if we don't break out this week for a liquidity sweep lower. So keep your radar on that. So don't get trapped down here. Thinking that this is going to break down because it could just swipe below a dueling weekly lows here, pick up some liquidity, and then potentially go. So that's something that I'll talk to my Phantoms members. I'm not sure if it's going to happen today, but we have a minute to open, so I got to move on a little bit there. AVGO, outside gap up, just been attacking this thing, and no reason to stop. All-time highs, one of the strongest stocks in the S&P 500. Semiconductors on fire right now. NVIDIA, biggest company in the U.S. right now, touching another $1 trillion market cap. So that's on the radar there. Now we did close green bar yesterday, having a gap up, so we're gonna watch out for a little bit of a novice gap. Just opened. Portfolio beta watching. Yeah, Paul. I think Paul said great video on that on the website with Blue. Did I do portfolio beta watching for Phantoms? I think I did one lesson on that. It's somewhere in the archives, right? Am I mistaken? Am I wrong? Could be wrong. Bezos selling stock for his wedding. Hilarious. I can't believe that dude's getting married. Why? Just enjoy your wealth with the woman, man. Why are you gonna marry? You're too old for that, man. Come on, man. Anyways, we're on YouTube, right? So we gotta chill. Internals. Bell rang. Advanced decline to negative 80, not extreme, but down ticking below the zero line there. Makes quiescent. I didn't even look at the options depth with you folks. I looked at it this morning for personally, but all right, NVIDIA gap up, but you can see it's fading that. AMD. Oh, anybody in that swing AMD? Palantir popping. Anybody in that swing AMD? I ended up getting stopped out break even on that AMD swing. All right, took some targets, and then I had it yesterday. Took me out break even on my others. All right. If anybody got in Palantir yesterday, as mentioned, the thing is going there for you. All right, so I see. All right, let's see here. Oh, I like Tesla's opening print off that 200 period moving average on the right there on the daily. You have to be careful with that. But I have a red bar close yesterday, gap up above prior day high on the 200 flat 200 period moving average on the daily, in a kind of mid to lower range on the weeklies and monthlies. This would be so much better if everything was placed down here, but we can't have our cake. We cannot have our cake and eat it too, right? But I like that 200 that gap up above that 200 period moving average. If that's a belt hold, that's a very strong stance on Tesla right there. Even regardless of the news that's wrapped around it. Now this could fail, of course, on this because just like any setup, it could. But this is fairly decent here today. Got a 2-minute wide range bar off the open. So I'm going to take a shot on this here just because of this 200 period moving average here. Okay, red bar close, gap up above yesterday's high. Okay, I've got monthly, weekly, daily here. And because of that 200 period moving average, very powerful there. I'm going to work on Tesla long here. Even though it might sound a little crazy, I got to take that setup. And like I would be more, I don't want to say upset, but I'd be more, I guess, upset, not aligned if I didn't take it versus if I did take it and it was wrong, right? So let's see, long call Tesla here. So like in other words, another way to say that is I'd rather take this and it be a loser, right? And I'd be more happier if I took it and being a loser than if I didn't take it, okay, and it was a winner, or if it was still a loser, right? So I guess you got to take this trade, right? So we're trading 304, give or take, rounding. So if I guess maybe pick up like a 40 delta, maybe like a 307 half here. You're going for about $3. Not bad. Let me get you some risk on this. This is the July 11th expiration, so just see if we can get a little pop for a day trade here today on this. This is the call premium here for the 307 half strike call on Tessie. All right, we can work on this opening bar range here. So if you get in, say, like $3 here, give or take, 280 or 310, give or take, we can put a stop loss on this. We'll give it some space here below the 166 on this premium wise. Maybe stop loss, give it about a buck 50 of loss. Okay, so I'm gonna get in this. This is long call Tesla. All right, I'm gonna put a bid lower here. So that's long call Tessie, okay? Oops. All right, folks, you can already TP some Tesla if you want. All right. Come on, move my screen here. There we go. Computer froze a little bit there. I'm gonna take this. Put some limit orders in here. Lower. All right, TP Tesla. We're gonna pick up these here too. TP it. All right, TP Tesla. Yeah, Sebastian, my charts are being a little weird right now too. I'm trying to remain calm a little bit. TP symbol with Tesla here. Some of y'all are gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm still I am still long the 307 half from earlier this week. In my IRA, hilarious. Tesla and I have a toxic relationship. It's a classic 1, 2, 3 go here. Butte. I mean, that's textbook Wall Street right there. Love it. Oh my god, that just made me blush. There's a tear running down my eye right now of just appreciation of understanding proper setups in this market. I mean, that's textbook, folks. I'm having a little moment. There's nothing really hot right now, but I'm having a little moment. That's textbook. Would have been even better if it was low range. Red bar close, gap up above prior day high, up, right belt hold off the 200 period moving average, wide range bar on the 2-minute time frame off the open. Wow. 1, 2, 3 go. Unbelievable. I just spoke a different language for some of you folks in here. But if you know, you know. Nice. What a beaut. What a beaut. Still work on pullback orders on Tesla, TPTP. I'm going to be working on Tesla all day. I even filled this one here. I got to get this in my other account. I already rolled some of these too, so still in the 307s. I did add. I got into. I added to the 309s at $3 here. All right, let me get this in my other account. Yeah, Bob, that was. I mean, it's still, of course, working on it, but that initial setup. Who said Tesla in the chat? Money Mark Wahlberg. Aiden, good job. Good job. Good eye. Beautiful setup. So I'm going to throw some bids in here to add to this. This is the 307 half strike. So I'll throw in a bid here. Accumulate lower here, 340. I'll move this one down here. $280. All right. All right, so in here, TPTP. Yeah, I snagged this one here. I snagged the 310. I had put in a $3 limit in it. All right, so it's like the roll here. All right. All right, so blues are buys, red is sells, and then I got some limit orders in here, right? About to print a positive COG right here, right off Tessie. So I'll add to the roll just because it's a little bit lower risk. I want to potentially wait for that to close an actual positive COG, I will say, however. PLTR. Anybody snagged the swing on PLTR yesterday? Monthly weekly data looking good. I think Tesla got some fills down here now. This fill. All right. This there's a 307 half just got filled on VWAP there on Tesla. Snag this in my other account here. All right, added there. PLTR is filling its bar here, or one day slap down and then just quick little sweep and then grind higher. So I would suggest a TP a little bit there, just in the event that it doesn't make a new higher high. Yeah, NQ is in a G trap short right now, so we got to be a little cautious on the Tesla long here. But NQ, GlobeXI, sorry, G trap short activated at the moment, coming back mid range. But indeed a little heavy for sure. AMD, come back up into these areas here. All right, spies. AMD still battling just where it wants to go on the higher time frames monthly. Still got this massive monthly supply. We're going to gap up into that again. I want to see it higher. So just be a little bit patient on this. Palantir is looking for a base break higher potentially. Want to get some more orders filled on Tesla. Still got some lower to fill. The morgues today. Keep an eye on JP Morgan. All-time high here. Break. Retesting the other side. Rising 20 moving average. We have daily demand lower down here at 275. But yes, it was an inside day coming off that 20. We got a small little base break right here happening on JP Morgan on the intermediate. Failure to make a new low yesterday. JP Morgan's pretty interesting here. Not only for a day trade, but a swing. But for swing, it could come a little lower. We have weekly down here. This is we were discussing this inside break All right, Tesla just filled some more here. That'll probably be my last fill here on this. So there might not be fall through on this, right? We'll see. I don't like how it's reacting a little bit off VWAP here. A little heavy off VWAP. All right. That was a 307 here. So these blues are fills, right? So we got filled. Give or take there. All right, so we'll see how this how this goes. All right, gonna be a bit patient with it. All right, that said, let's see. We gotta watch out for $8 minutes for the 30-minute bar to close. But all right, we're trading a little bit below VWAP. It's okay for now. All right, we'll see. We'll see how this pans out. All right, so we get some fall through on that. Oh, JP Morgan, that's what I was kind of looking at. Long call for this. SPY's a little heavy. So let me get NASDAQ's weaker. Short SPY's, NASDAQ. A little swipe lower. Last week's high, yesterday's supply. Inside range could be a sweepy day. This is a take prof, not long. If short, take prof hit area here. Watch out for this yesterday's low swipe. Gap fill right below. I'm sure this would be some kind of G trap as well, potentially. Just cues. Hi, Karen Michael. Do you guys have stop losses and TPs? Yes, of course you have stop losses and TPs. Of course. And a little bit of a negative GEX now. We have a positive gamma 6280. So 50, I'm sorry, the 50 handle, 6250 that is. SPX a little bit more lower. We're entering a bit of a positive gamma node here. So 6250, 6240 SPX could provide some demand down here in regard to gamma. Right now, Qs are in momentum lower on a G trap. This was last week's high swipe. Plus G trap. Cumulative take higher. Yeah, S&Ps are just not really doing much here. At least for right now, it's very early. Cap up here, move down, then just grinding. We're still in like yesterday's kind of like grind-ish vibe here. But if I were to map out that positive COG gamma node, what would we say was the price? We put that on the chart here, so we prepare for 6240, 6230, right? So down here, we have what's called a positive gamma node, 40 and 30 right here. So SPX 40 into 30. And that's this week's VWAP plus, for what it's worth, they drop it basically in some kind of rally, some kind of demand in here. It's kind of mid-range demand, albeit, but demand nonetheless. Okay, so watch out here. This could be a positive gamma node here. A lot of confluence here. So we got mid-range demand. This week's VWAP here. And we got a decent, not insane, decent positive gamma regime here. Now, as prices are coming down into this demand and into this, everything you notated there, positive gamma node, market makers would have to be buying into this. Okay, market makers would have to be buying into this. Okay, which would be more supportive in demand. Okay. All right. Now Tesla, I'm not liking how it's reacting off of its or below its VWAP. So this is beginning to violate a little bit too much here. All right, now we got a 30-minute bar close in about 3 minutes. All right. So I'll be a little patient here. Switch this over to the 30-minute. All right, and I got this monthly view up here. So again, I typically don't like to get too concerned unless it takes out the wide range bar here. So again, I just want to be a little patient on this. All right, it's okay if your trades float down a little bit. Don't watch your P&L. All right, we'll see. Just be a little patient. All right, but definitely giving us a yellow flag, right? All right, as you can see, it's floating down here, right? After the TPs, so give me some of these back here. I'll be a little patient on that. Let me throw a VWAP high on day here. SPY's taking a clip lower. Watch this flush down into the 40s and 30s. JP Morgan high. Meta. Let me check something here. Palantir has a squeeze for tomorrow's expiration, Friday. Above 147. Palantir has a short squeeze above 147. I'm going to check Tesla. Now, I will say this. I want to discuss risk for you folks that might not want to or have the capability to do so, but I'm going to be holding these until tomorrow. All right, no matter what. I'm going to be doing that. All right. Because of that 200 period moving average on the daily time frame for Tesla, okay? Let me finish what I was going to do over here real quick. I want to see if Tesla has some. Man, I wish Tesla had a bit more of a gamma squeeze here. It does not, unfortunately. Not as much. All right, first 30-minute print. Down. Fall through, lower TP, some puts, short plays. Fall through so far. Lower. Qs are heavier. Good job, Mark. That was Mark Wahlberg. Unfilled gap here. So TP Nazi, if short. TP Nazi, if short. If you're short Nazi futures, if you're short in the form of long puts on Qs, take profit on some, I would suggest. Might have given back its positive COG yesterday. All right, so slap the G trap here, and then we're coming down lower. So it looks like, so this level here, so this level down here, albeit not the greatest as we discussed already in the morning, but did demand on remember that liquidity sweep lower below this daily low. And I want to try to find out here on Nazi. Apple up today, crazy. Norman, this Apple's like living in its own world, just so range hasn't done anything in weeks. And then like it's just like sucking people in intraday. There'll be like a little micro move and then it just fades. So just be careful. It's been doing that for like a month and a half now. So just be careful trading it, all right? Like I love it. I own it in my long-term portfolio. I haven't day traded it and I don't even know how long. Yes, they've had micro moves here, micro moves there. Intraday. But just the overall condition of the higher time frame range is a nightmare at the moment. Unless you're trading iron condors and things like that. Don't get me wrong. You can adapt and just trade iron condors on it or something like that to change the strategy if you wanted to do that. And Meta is not having a day today. Pushing Nasdaq down. That was a tough short, though, to fade yesterday's positive COG. So, yeah, what I was trying to do here is look at confluence this. So I got NASDAQ. Got big new lows here. Parallel universe would have been okay to swipe some NASI short. It was weaker than S&P today. So work S&P longs if any bids catch on these G traps. NASI's a bit more weaker. Meta's crushing it down. Microsoft as well. Oh, no, crush is a relative word here. First 30-minute bar in, we are overtaking already basically everything of yesterday. But be patient, get these gap fills here. So what I was doing here was taking this left QQQs on a daily to the far left, and then I got the 1 hour time frame here in the middle, and I got the S&P, NASDAQ futures in the background here. And so what I want to do is remember from morning prep where we talked about the G traps, right, etc. And so we already broke the global low. Now there's not really super high quality level demand that we're coming into right now, right? So we just swiped yesterday's low. We're coming lower. Now we have this unfilled gap. So if we come lower, we're going to be getting deeper into this demand zone of the 60-minute time frame of the NASDAQ futures, right? Now, albeit here too, there's not a lot of, this is not like much great demand, okay? So something especially like the NASDAQ where if it does flush, right? Would this be the time to short Nasdaq down in here? This would not be the time to short Nasdaq. So there's going to be some profit take from said shorts. Okay, if we happen to break this daily low in futures, which is that 22,840 handle, and we get a little bit lower right down in here. Okay, so I'll be probably filling this gap and maybe getting a little bit below these daily lows down in here in a monthly and this weekly VWAP down in here. Okay, this is where we could potentially get some low range action here, where short covers are going to be coming in, and potentially some buy to enter de-trapping longs could potentially coming in as well. Right, we're not quite there just yet. Okay, so short, try to milk those shorts, protect, trail stop, right? But as we get lower and lower on these new lows down in here, okay, further away from daily VWAP, there could be a setup where we can have a, of course, like a swipe back up. Okay, so be careful with this, right? Now, this bar right here is looking nasty here, okay, but this is not closed yet. Okay, it's not closed yet. It's only 37 minutes in, give or take, to the market open. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but sometimes in market, I've been doing this a long time, where you get like this first 1 hour bar, like push, okay, and then it's just like a fade day inside, like all day, just kind of like grinds and fades out. I'm not saying that that's going to happen today, but just be aware of that. All right. But playing devil's advocate here, of course, this could be wide range bar here, and then just continuation, and we can go in a little bit more of a push lower. All right. But however, be patient with this. If off the open we have advanced declines, open down, consistently moving up. So there's more stocks going up in New York Stock Exchange than down right now. Okay, so you have to put this flush lower into perspective. Volume up versus down on the New York Stock Exchange. It's actually up. It's not an extreme up, okay, but it is up. Okay, extremes would be positive or -3, but it is up to say the least. Okay, 1.7 in terms of volume, right? Ratio, that is. Okay, and then we got VIX. VIX is on an uptick. All right, it's not really screaming up. It's positive for the day, positive 0.82, but nothing crazy. Okay, nothing crazy. However, we would have to monitor this. If VIX happens to spike up, advanced declines start to decrease lower. Okay, and these markets not holding any types of bids and just taking in some offers. Okay, we start to spike up, then of course we could be a little more on a drop lower. Okay, so we swiped below yesterday's low, so be careful on that. TP. All right, for longs, I want to be a little more. If I were to get long, I'd want to be a bit more conservative, right, and make sure I have that setup unravel into that G trap daily low swing on the Nasdaq futures. Does that make sense? So I'll put a note here. This is Q's reference. Is this making some sense at all? Reference NQ futures for that sneaky sweep. AKA AKA 22,825, below that 22,840, right? All right, Tesla trying to do his thing here. They're bar close, trying to fill that gap in here, of course. For what it's worth, we have a, nothing quite positive series. It's doing its thing here. All right. Probably missing a JP Morgan. MSTR. Anybody snag some MSTR yesterday? Mark Wahlberg. I got some MSTR calls from yesterday. We spoke about this. Bitcoin. Please tell me my Phantoms numbers caught some Bitcoin plays yesterday. Ripper, Mark, my man. Yeah, you're the one that brought it up, brother. Credit to you. I owe you dinner and drinks on me. So we spoke about this all day. Well, yesterday we started out. It was like a whole process of like monthly, weekly, daily, multiple breakout, all that, and then Bitcoin crept a new all-time high yesterday, real quick. So we got a break of the mother bar. So see if we can get some continuation on that. What a ripper! Let's see. S&Ps are just chilling. They're not taking Nasdaq. S&Ps are barely flat, are basically flat. Nasdaq's down 0.5%. This is mainly due to Meta and Microsoft and the vid. But you know, people say, "Oh, the Nvidia's crashing." It's like, man, it's made an all-time high yesterday, man. Calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. If MSCR pops, I'm about to get paid. Netflix. Slow grind lower. I know it might sound crazy, but I'm hoping Netflix just swipes and sweeps people out. That 1150 is looking sexy right now. If that thing were to swipe for liquidity sweep right here, I don't know if that's going to happen. Joe Frank. Ring of power. Ring of power. Yeah, the reason why I'm going to hold those Teslas no matter what is this 20 pay moving average. I'm hoping that this is going to be a belt hold here. Let me take us into tomorrow's expiration. So I get the 70, I get the 307s, and I get the 310s. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't want to entice anybody here. You know, Tesla's in the news, always in the news. Elon this, Elon that. Trump this, Trump that. But you know, we'll see. We would need this bar to close the green. It's only 10:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we have a all day, right? So it'd be interesting to see. But you know, if we're trading tomorrow, potentially, you know, let's just say gap filling up here. I'm not going to exaggerate this, but if we get up to 315 tomorrow, hypothetically, if this thing was to fall through today and into tomorrow, potentially, right? If you got the 310 and 307s, these would be in the money, right? The 310s will be in the money by 5 points. So those options are going for $5, and the 307 halves will be in the money by 7.5 points, give or take, right? So those premiums will be at least minimum 7.5, right? And if you buy them for $3, 320, 280, 270, okay, get low risk potentially for some higher reward if you can fathom the total premium loss. Okay, I just wanted to give a quick little discussion on that in regard to these Tesla calls. All right, does that make sense? All right, so like in the morning, the TP some locks them in, and then pulled back, enter, right? Does that make sense? Okay, and it was so we positioned ourselves pretty decent with some lower risk, right? And this is the 310, got smaller size on this. This is the roll. Okay, these are floating down a little bit here, right? Of course, you can see probably could have added this one too, but I would much rather add to the 307s versus the 310s because 307s are going to be closer to the at the money, right? Closer to the at the money. Well, these would be in the money sooner and get more intrinsic value in the event that Tesla punches higher. Okay, so that's why I'm loaded up more on these ones as opposed to the 310s. All right. All right, cool. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Wow, we are at a TRO in SPX. S&P's are holding bids above VWAP so far. Looks coming off lows there. I wanted to check Meta because we swept yesterday's low. This is taking this right back out. So SPYs. Long call. About 20 points above to get to a positive gamma node 6280 handle. Come on, take a swim. There we go. We got it up. All right, man, get long spot calls. I don't want to be too late to this. $324 strike. These are probably already printed a little bit here. Just going at the money here. Long SPYs. Let me fix on loads. I gotta check Meta. Mega caps still heavy, so it's just bringing back the Nasdaq. Let me grab this mother account real quick. Man, could have got these for like probably 90, 80 cents, give or take. I'm gonna pinch pennies though. All right, taking a shot here on long SPYs. We got the mix coming down. S&P's is not partaking that drop. Healthcare holding that up. XLV. Somebody even mentioned that in chat. Good job. All right, and if you have the wherewithal, 40-cent risk here. Give or take $1. You can pretty stop loss at like 60 cents. If that's too much there for you, below VWAP would be about right here. So, stop loss would be about maybe 60 or 70 cents here in premium. So it'll be about 35, give or take, 30-cent risk to about 40-cent risk, give or take. If this doesn't follow through. All right. All right, Tesla pushing back a bit. It's an ugly bar. Did I just buy the high, bro? Potentially. Pretty fade view up on NASDAQ. Pretty fade view up on SPYs. I wanted to check Meta. Are we breaking yesterday's low on Meta? Is it yesterday's low for sure? My charts updated. Let's see. Meta. Nice. MSTR new high. Theta decay annoying. Meta is what I wanted to look at real quick. See, we're swiping below yesterday's low, but could not follow through on his positive COG yesterday. No more range. So someone's been hit like a gazillion times. So I want to be cautious here on that, because what I'm looking for is just not for a dip, but for like a swing trade. So this level has been tested like a million times here. So I don't know. For a swing, I might want to be a little bit more patient. I know a good member at Phantoms, Mason, we kind of he was asking some really great questions, and then we kind of went into a whole top-down approach here. So I might have to wait for my first swing down to the 709 and the 695 to 710 to 695 handle for the original kind of swing that I wanted off of this. All right, just thinking out loud. Again, this is going to be something that's going to have to formulate all day here today. So some of y'all might have managed to test a little bit more different than I, and that's okay. We'll see. AMB is trying to get lined up here. Mid-range on monthlies. Swipe down, swoop here. This is good though. We'll see how that goes. JP Morgan probably new highs, but up to base break. JP Morgan's decent in a decent daily location. It's a pretty decent statement bar there. Only the first hour in. JP Morgan's kind of prime already for a swing long. So being stopped out of the spies. So if you put your stop loss at that 60 something odd premium handle, you get stopped out now on spies. All right, so far pretty choppy at the moment. I'm gonna just clear this board here. The VIX is not really screaming. It's kind of annoying because we're just in the middle of a negative GEX regime right now, and it's just sifting up and down. So no matter what, you got to be objective. I'm going to put my stop loss here, as mentioned. I mentioned 60 something odd cents there, or no matter what, below 60 right there. So I'm just going to put stop loss here at 58. All right, we'll see. No fall through today in SPY so far. NASDAQ had a nice flush lower. belt hold bar below VWAP. Nasdaq equal to lower test here. Sold calls here. Amazon's tagging its lower range-ish area. It's not at the weekly low, but it's in the lower kind of fourth of its range. So in the event that this doesn't like swipe lower, I'm going to got a weekly on the left. The lower kind of quarter, if you will, of said range. This is the lower quarter of range around here, give or take, right? 219s, I would say, the upper range here. So if you're like, okay, this is going to potentially you for a setup, right? Working on a setup, it's okay. Positive COG past, last week, doji bar here, low range. This is going to be the range for a potential break higher. You'd be want to accumulate at this low range on sweeps lower to build a bullish position. This whole week, you have to be extremely patient with the flush downs on SPYs and Qs. Try not to be so. You have to be reaction. You have to be quick and react and respond, but not. You have to also. There's a balance of being patient as well to see. So I think that happens more as you get more experience. It just is what it is. But just be careful playing the long short game on the S&P complex. Nasdaq had a little bit more fall through today. Oh, this would be a beautiful sweep if this happens. Look at this level right here. Perfect level for a swipe lower. So you have this thing, Phantoms, called position pyramid sizing. So this would be low range accumulation pyramid where you'd be getting in and position sizing accordingly, like this, bigger, lower, and you'd be playing the liquidity sweep on weeklies and daily range for potential sweep higher, right? And then sometimes what you'll see is the on these daily ranges, you'll get like these are all inside bars, right? And so you potentially like break out, right? It's, oh man, Amazon's it's cracking low range, right? Impulse right below these weeklies and dailies as we're building up some orders above and below. Because the longer that this range is, there's going to be more stop loss places here, more stop loss places here, right? People who are like short going to put their stop loss here, like, oh, if this breaks higher, let me get stopped out up here, right? Y'all realize that, right? All right. People who are short are like, okay, if this breaks out above here, I'm gonna have a stop loss here for shorts, right? And for longs, it's gonna be down here, right? Well, longs, if this thing breaks below like this week's low, or if they place stop losses below these ranges of demand here, so it just becomes like just a sweep fest here. Now the probabilities of we want to trade which way the bigger, higher time frame is going to be, monthly, weekly, daily up, right? We're above all these monthly view ups, so on and so forth, right? So you can have a potential entry where people have their stop losses here. You are accumulating into that. Now, if you were bearish, which you could be, don't get me wrong, you'd be vice versa, right? You're just saying like you could say, hey, no, this market's too high right now. We're gonna have some kind of drop lower next. And so how to play that would be on a range. You'd be doing the opposite here, where you would be accumulating on the upper third range. I'd want to see some. Apple is a perfect example of this, where it broke on the upper range, and so I'll show you that in a moment. So I'd want to look for a level above this upper range, up and left, okay, for that trap, right? So where's that? 24 and above. So there's a massive unfilled gap right here. I don't know how far that is away from there. Give or take, something like that, right? Looking for like a level of supply above the range. All right, if you're like, no, man, this is markets, I'm more bearish leaning into this, which you could, right? You could. That's what makes a market, right? You'd be the opposite, where you'd be pyramid position sizing like this, and not putting your stop loss right above that level, because you're going to be market maker shark bait. They're going to come fish you out. And the period represents position sizing, where you're going to be positioning heavier size as we go higher up into, right, supply. All right. Now, check this out. Apple. Massive range, right? Amazon only been in a 2-week kind of inside bar range. Apple has been inside this range for a long time, right? Inside this range. Now, if you look up here, right above here, they potentially this week they broke that really quickly. Right? And then it got slammed right back down. Now we're kind of balancing back out here, so that's the thing. The bulls and the bears are still kind of fighting it out. But so I just wanted to go to this time frame here really quickly to show you this box range that Apple's been in forever now. This is a weekly time frame. This is multiple weeks, right? So if I go to a daily here, right? If you look at this day specifically, I was actually just talking about this. There goes our red box here, upper range. There goes our green box down here, lower range. And I got this purple kind of like dead space in the middle here. Okay, so that's like old notes there, right? And I was mentioning how, okay, we break above. Now this is all gap up here, but notice what they did, right? You got May's high, June, May's high here, monthly high. This is already in June. Now we're in July, and what real quick we have green bar up, green bar up, green bar up, and then right here we open here, we swiped up here. This one's a green bar, and then right trap, and then they slammed it back down. Now the good thing about Apple right now, right, is that at least we already swiped, we already trapped some people here, dropped down, but they can't gather any momentum here, right, so far. So we kind of tested kind of the mid-range here, and the buyers are trying to step back in a little bit here, right? We have a open here, inside bar, fakey, breaky here. So the bulls and the bears are really fighting it right now. Does that make sense? Like this is a bearish bar, right? There goes our sweep. SPY's new highs. There goes our sweep. And then we get a bullet, right? We have an inside bar, fakey, breaky on this side too now. All right, so trying to go. The buyers are trying to. Now this could be careful with this, but this could be the what? Impulse. There was a swipe. You kind of want to see that get cleared. There's a correction. Could this be the correctional wave that pops out into a new equal to or potential higher high? Could be. The buyers are trying to showcase that at the moment. All right, after that sweep. All right. So typically on a sweep, if you don't get, you typically get fall through mid range lower, go back to the low range, and they sweep it back down here, and then they go back up, right? But they couldn't even get back into mid range, and the buyers are trying to step back in. Apple's trying to hold some bids today. All right, even with Nasdaq down, so Apple's trying to hold things up while Meta and Microsoft, which are coming off well, at least Meta. Microsoft all-time highs. All right, SPY's new highs. Let's TP some. Well, we really can't. We need a little bit more of a push, but held these on the pullback there. Hopefully, that's why I said, we're going to be more around the pivots. So hopefully, I don't know if anybody got stopped out here. Very choppy, though. Very choppy. So put some TPs up here. If SPYs continue to kind of grind a new high. Sharp ratio on this is going to be terrible because, I sat through 35, 40 cents of loss to see if we could try to poke up and hit some targets here. All right, just took some out there, right? New high on SPYs. All right. SPYs turn green on the open, off the open. All right, checking out the first 30-minute bar print, TP, approaching yesterday's high. TP. TP, some SPYs. All right, now stop loss could be trailed. All right, either I break even or at least trail this pivot here, new high here. All right, VWAP right here, right? So you can trail now, right? So that is a classic example of just not looking at premium just to stop out and look at levels, right? For options traders, that's difficult. Some people don't don't understand that. Where if you're looking at a percent of the premium, remember options are a derivative product. Has data, it has Greeks as well, right? But to keep it very simple for right now, I see a lot of like options traders or people who are learning how to trade options. They'll only trade like the percent, the percent on premium. Like they'll buy this for $1. Like if these premiums go down by 20%, I get out. Right, and that's okay. Don't get me wrong. But the thing about that is, you want to trade. I'm trading options as the derivative just to the underlying stock. So you still want to, right? So this might have took some people out that are doing the percent based on premium stop losses. but this never took out a level. Like this drop never made a lower low, right? Does that make sense? So that's why when I got long or bullet long here, a little bit late, albeit, right? And I'm like, did I just buy the high, right? Because once I got in it almost immediately pulled back on me, right? I got in a little bit late there, right? All good, right? But okay, now stop loss. Then we got pulled back, right? So this is why. Okay, so we made right. So we had this is the opening, right? So move down, right? Flush down. Some of y'all caught that on Nasdaq. I think someone said they caught something on SPY. Very short-lived. Made a new low, right? Blah blah blah. And then then we started to swipe back up, right? This is where I got long, a little bit late. But now this is like the move down, and then this took out kind of this area here. I was like, oh, this took that out, right? So this is kind of a new impulsion wave in a way, right? This was the correction, right? So that's why I said you got to be careful here. You be careful putting your stop loss right here. Typically, you want to be a little more safer here. You're putting a risk, right? So I was like, I'll put my stop loss right here because I don't want to get sifted out just in the event that it doesn't make a new low, right? So that's the thing. So that's why I gave like 2 areas. I'm like, you got to be careful because if you stop out over here at the 60, be lower risk, but you might potentially get nicked out, right? That's why originally I said put it right here. That's where I elected to put mine. But that's kind of if you got nicked out, stay strong. Kind of a choppy condition here today, a little bit opening up a little bit now. But that's a key thing here where you want to make sure you're putting your stop loss placements above and below segments. Segments. What do I mean by that? Well, I have already drawn here. So if markets are impulse correction. All right. Now we don't know it's going to be a pivot yet, right? But this just made a new high right here. So now it's a pivot, right? Okay, great. Now if this market's going to continue to trend, we have a pullback, right? Now we want to get long in anticipation. Okay, we want to get long on the pullback here, right? This is a pullback in the context of an uptrend. Okay, say daily view up, what have you, whatever, right? So this is where we're going to be getting long here, right? On the pullback phase in the context of an uptrend, buying low in anticipation, of course, that this is going to, of course, selfishly so make us money and make a new higher high. Now when we get in, we don't know that this is going to be a pivot yet, right? Because we're entering at demand, so we want to buy low, right? And if it does happen to make a new high, let's say you got in here, okay, well now that just made a new pivot, right? So now you're going to be doing what? After you got in, you're going to be taking profit here, right? Equal to a new high, TP zone, right? And then of course it doesn't go up forever, right? So after we make a new high, as we hit TP, well, it has a high probability that it's going to do what? Correct, right? And this could be again where it enters a level of demand. You can add. You see me doing it in Tesla today, right? Add. You can't be scared, right? You have to trust the process and system, right? You can potentially add. And we don't know it's going to be a pivot yet, but the probability, if we're going to be trading on the right side of the trend, and this market does what it needs to do, and it makes a new higher high here, right? Then we get TP, so take profit. Now that made a new pivot, right? So let's say you were even still in some orders originally down here, and you just added here. Okay, originally your stop loss was here, but now see how that made a new pivot high? Now we can move this stop loss and trail it up here because it made a new pivot. Okay, all right. So this is coming back down now. Right, this is coming back down. Didn't make a pivot yet. Didn't make a pivot yet. Then all of a sudden it goes ooh, pop. Okay, and then made another pivot, stop loss trail. Okay, that will help prevent you getting stopped out during these phases here on these pullbacks, right? Where you potentially get stopped out, right? While it's kind of working on its pullback sequence. Right, because most people are emotional human beings, right? They don't want to lose, right? They don't want you can't be scared to lose in trading and investing. Okay, you have to follow the process in the system. Y'all see me all day this morning potentially sit. You see me sit through that SPY. Once I got in, I was virtually like almost immediately wrong, right? Because I got in a little bit late. Could have been better here. There goes the positive COG above VWAP right there, 90 cents. Doesn't seem like a lot. It's only 10 cents, but in terms of premium, that's almost 10% of the premium. If I'm buying for $1.05, which is my original fill. So y'all see me sit through this loss right here, would put my stop loss below a pivot, right? And it's almost like, oh, this is going to get stopped out, but it didn't do that, right? So all your fear was nothing, and now you're TPing. Now it had to be okay if I did get stopped out here. Even Tesla, right? Y'all see me add in the brink of floating down on a trade potentially, right? I'm floating down a little bit, but I'm accumulating into because I'm going through the process of a plan, okay, and not emotional looking at my P&L. Does that make sense? Super powerful there, right? So stop loss placement is key in terms of those pivot levels, right? So in regard to Tesla, And this is perfect because I'm about to end the session because I got to go. I got to go jump in and do something else here. But in regard to that Tesla trade, I'm playing off this daily bar here, right? So, I mean, this happens to be Thursday with tomorrow being Friday, and I did the July 11th expiration, which is tomorrow's expiration. But let's just say, so it's basically going to be either this is going to work out today into tomorrow, okay, which I'm holding, or it's going to be a loss because tomorrow's going to be expiration day anyways, right? But let's just say that I was doing a more further out expiration. My stop loss would be placed below. This is the entry bar pivot. If I wanted to be more secure and safe, I put it below this pivot, which would be this week's low. Okay. At a minimum, I'd put it right below there. Okay. If I was doing more of a swing trade, all right, I want to give myself some space below this daily low. I could potentially put it below here, but the safest place would be below that pivot right there. Okay. So if that makes a new weekly low, I would just get tagged out. Okay. That would be equivalent to the SPY stop loss placement being here to draw the parallels. Matter of fact, we got to TP some more SPY here right now. That'd be equivalent to the SPY, putting it below the pivot low. If I were to put my stop loss on NASDAQ, not NASDAQ, on Tesla below this one, I might be set myself up a little bit to get stopped out early, and I could draw the parallel to that SPY earlier, where if you that would be like maybe putting your stop loss right there, but Tesla potentially, as SPYs came down, clipped you out too early because you didn't put it below the pivot. Okay, that could potentially happen in Tesla, if you put it right below there. All right, TP some more SPYs. Hopefully that makes sense. This is all, I think, recorded and locked up on YouTube there. You can rewind that if need be. All right, but I'm going to head out. I'm going to jump out, TP some SPYs, trail stop on that. Kind of interesting day. I'm going to hold up on Tesla. I just literally discussed that, right? But hopefully y'all did okay. Yesterday was an amazing open. Today a little odd, a little everywhere. The Mag 7, everybody's kind of doing its own thing. Meta did get down into an interesting area. Not the greatest, but something there. But I'm going to jump off here. Hopefully this helped, folks. I'll see some of y'all Phantoms numbers tomorrow. Today's, of course, Thunder Thursdays. We have 2 classes later today. And then, God willing, I'll be with y'all tomorrow morning in the live trade room. We'll be headed up for 4 hours. And if you made some money today, this morning, don't give it back, I would suggest. And I'll see some of y'all later. If you want to be a Phantom, all good. We have some Phantoms in here. Yep, no problem, Scott. Scott S., Joe Frank, Emir, Tanya, CK Smoke. Aiden, could you explain UVIX? I'll have to do that another time. But yeah, TradePhantoms.com. Hit that up. Register. SPY's new highs. Tonight, being July 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Name, email if you're new. You get sent the link. Mr. Black, Mr. Green will host about a 90-minute kind of session, if you will. There's the agenda. I'm not going to read all this out, but come one, come all, right? If it's good for you, it's a good fit, great. If not, great as well. Don't care. We're going to do our thing here and train people who are serious and committed. If that's not you and you're just kind of dabbling, that's okay. If you're just kind of viewing from the sidelines, that's okay too. But if you're serious about this, we train people short-term, long-term wealth management, day trading, swing trading, stocks, futures, forex, options, even crypto. All right, even started off the session, live trading session yesterday with Bitcoin itself and crypto. Okay, Bitcoin made a new high. We were on top of that with the team. Made a point to talk about that. So everything, one-stop shop. Come check it out. If you like it, great. If you don't, great as well. No big deal. TP SPYs. All right. New highs. And trade safe. God bless. Take care. Blue out.